Just a couple of weeks ago, you may have gone outside of your house in the late evening to watch what was dubbed the Christmas star. As we know, just a few days before Christmas, the planets Jupiter and Saturn were so close to each other that they appeared as one bright star in the sky. Scientists say that this phenomenon, which occurs every 20 years, has been called the Christmas star. And some astronomers have theorized that this may have been what the wise men from the east saw in the sky and followed 2,000 years ago, leading them to find the child Jesus as recounted in today's gospel. Be that as it may, today's readings speak about light that shines in the midst of darkness. In today's first reading, the prophet Isaiah speaks about God's coming into the midst of the people in terms of light, shining radiance, and glory. He says, "Rise up, Jerusalem, your light has come. The glory of the Lord shines upon you. Darkness covers the earth. Thick clouds cover the people, but upon you the Lord shines." Isaiah is speaking to the people who have been in exile for decades. They have endured a period of deep darkness and despair. The prophet foresees a brighter future in which they would go back to the promised land. He is predicting a season of light which is about to begin. It almost sounds as if Isaiah is speaking directly to us and to our times. We have been living a season of darkness, death, and despair with the coronavirus pandemic, just like the people of Israel were in exile also in darkness. Many of us have been directly affected by the pandemic, and I think all of us have somehow been indirectly affected. A new year has begun, and everyone was happy and overjoyed to say goodbye to 2020. We begin 2021 with great hope that this darkness will soon dispel and come to an end. We are hoping for a new season of light as we look with faith to the Star of Bethlehem on this feast of the Epiphany. The light of the Star of Bethlehem can remind us of three things. First, it reminds us that our gaze should never rest on the horizon of this world and its material things. No, our gaze needs to look up. We need to raise our heads and look up towards the world of God, towards the things of heaven. Second, it reminds us that we need a light to illumine our path and to give us hope, especially in this time when we feel that we have been enveloped by a veil of darkness due to the weight of this pandemic. And this is on top of our problems and sufferings of our daily lives. The light that we need is the one that the Christ child provides. He can bring new life to our weary hearts. He doesn't stay in the comfort of heaven. He comes to us poor, defenseless, and his incarnation reminds us that God is present, that God never abandons us, that God accompanies us and sustains us in our problems, difficulties, and sadness. Third, the Star of Bethlehem reminds us that we are called to be lights, to point others to Christ. In our families, in our jobs, in our neighborhoods, in our schools, whatever we might be. And in this journey, we are not alone. Like the lights of the Christmas trees, we do this together with other lights. We find inspiration from those who have demonstrated heroism in the midst of trials. Yes, in the midst of this period of darkness, in which we have been submerged, there have been so many heroes, so many stars that have brightened our world. Think of all of the first responders, from firefighters to healthcare personnel, policemen and women. And how about scientists, grocery store workers, aid workers, vaccine trial participants, and simple, ordinary citizens like yourselves caring for one another? Back in April, Time magazine dedicated a whole issue to share stories of frontline responders and people who risk their lives for the sake of others. As you know, Time magazine usually reports on people who shape the world we live in. They cover the most influential characters in the world: heads of state, titans of industry, icons of culture. Therefore, it was only appropriate that they would dedicate a whole issue to highlight those who were in the front lines in the fight against the coronavirus. These peeps have been true heroes, true shining stars that have brought life and hope in our darkness. They help us realize that we need heroes in our lives. Their efforts serve as powerful examples of how to make a positive difference in the world. They are an inspiration for others, and as such, they remind us that we can all be heroes in our own way, wherever God has placed us. And this is the meaning of the Epiphany that we celebrate today. This feast reminds us that one star has shone brightly in the sky and has summoned all of us to one place to behold the light of the world, this one person whom we call Jesus Christ, the Son of God. As Isaiah says, "Rise up, Jerusalem, your light has come. The glory of the Lord shines upon you." Darkness covers the earth, thick clouds cover the people, but upon you the Lord shines. Jesus Christ, the true light of the world, shines in our darkness and brings us hope. Lives. I couldn't think of a better message at the beginning of a new calendar year than the one that the Epiphany tells us today. As we gaze at the Star of Bethlehem, may we always look up at the things of heaven. May God's light illumine our darkness. May Jesus' light give us strength to be light for others. Happy Feast of the Epiphany and a blessed New Year to all. Amen.